crazy, unbelievable story. It happened as true life. Stephanie Arnold had a feeling she was going to die giving birth to her second baby. She just knew something wasn't right. Weeks before her due date, she was 100% sure she would not make it out of the delivery room. She even she was Skyping her husband goodbye as she was going, and they're at the hospital. She had her son, and then she flatlined for 37 seconds. Doctors brought her back, even though they can't explain what happened.
There was something unusual that day. There was something stronger than any of us understand. And the miracle is that she's here, alive and well.
Stephanie tells her story in her new book, 37 Seconds.
Oh
Stephanie, thank you so much for being with us. Maria and I both read it this weekend. I think we cried through good portions of it.
It's hard to see words when there's tears welling up in your eyes so much. It's such a powerful book. It's a very, it's an incredible read. But what struck me mostly is that you saw this coming. You had premonitions for months leading up to the birth of your son. And, you know, you're not one of these women who's like out there and woo-woo and into all these things. You were a smart, stable woman. And people thought, including you kind of felt like you were going crazy.
I didn't personally feel I was crazy. Everybody around me thought I was crazy. And, you know, in their defense, I had done lots of tests. I had MRIs and ultrasounds and blood workup and consultations, and everything that I was afraid was going to happen was all negative. So they had no other conclusion than to think I was going off the deep end.
But enough so, though, that people started doing things to protect you once you were there because of your premonitions.
Sure. And that's how your life was saved.
Absolutely. So I had many different consultations with different doctors. I had a premonition I was going to need a hysterectomy, and I went to visit a gynecological oncologist, if you can believe it, to say months before I gave birth, I'm going to need a hysterectomy. And he's like, what are you talking about? You know, let's get some tests, but no, you don't need it.
And then you knew you needed blood.
And then I said, I'm going to hemorrhage. I'm going to need lots of blood, and I have very rare blood type. And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything's fine. All the blood is fine. Amniotic cells are fine. Everything is fine. The fluid's fine. And I had one consultation with anesthesia over the phone, and it was my last-ditch effort. And unbeknownst to me, she was very spiritual. And without any test results, without anything, she flagged my file and incorporated extra blood, monitors, and a crash cart in the operating room.
And this was Grace, right?
This was Grace.
She was your saving grace.
She was my saving.
It is so she had your blood ready to go.
Based on nothing else but her own intuition.
But her gut.
So what you actually had was basically an allergic reaction in the fluids. Briefly what that was.
Sure. It's an amniotic fluid embolism, so it's a 1 in 40,000 risk. It's basically when amniotic cells get into the mother's bloodstream, and if you happen to be allergic to it, you go into anaphylactic shock, and in most cases women don't make it.
And if you do make it, you've got all types of
severe neurological damage.
Okay. So, first of all, you can obviously foresee things now. I mean, so your life changed in that way. But the other part of this is, you died. I've never met anyone who has died. What does that mean? What did you see? What happens?
It was not comfortable. It was, in that moment when it happened, I think I'd spoken so many times to so many people that this was going to happen and nobody believed me, that when it finally happened, I prayed, but I gave way to whatever was going to happen. The baby was fine, and he was born, and all this happened seconds after he was born. So in that moment of flatline, I actually had done many, many months of therapy to go back into that moment, and when I went into those moments, it was very peaceful. I saw many things and many people, but I had an out-of-body experience where I saw everything that happened in the operating room after I flatlined.
Things you could have never seen.
No. First of all, I was having a C-section, and if anybody knows from a C-section, there's a curtain in front of your face, so you can't see anything happening below the body. So I saw where the doctors were, that my anesthesiologist was by my feet, that the first crash cart didn't work, but the second crash cart did. Who called the code? Who hit the button? The doctor's coming in. Which nurse jumped on me to do everything? And
so
I was
you saw
into
what was
it.
happening in reality, but then you also were on the other side, and you saw Grandma and Uncle Marvin.
And you guys know Uncle Marvin.
I know Uncle Marvin sounds like a cool guy.
Uncle Marvin's great.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw Uncle Marvin. He was there welcoming me. I saw my grandmother. I saw many hundreds of spirits there. And there were people there that I write about in the book that had messages, and those messages that I didn't know, and people that I didn't know that I'd given those messages to that were very significant for
We
them.
have to go here soon, but one last question. What now? How is your life now? What do you want people? You wrote this book, why?
Sure. I want people to realize that they have their own intuition and that if they sense something, they need to say something. Not every doctor is right, and you know your body better than everybody else. And also to believe in miracles.
Yep.
They do exist.
Okay. It is so, it's a quick read. It's 88 pages?
76 pages,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really fascinating. Stephanie's book, 37 Seconds, is out now. And tonight she has an event at the Conejo Jewish Academy, an evening with Stephanie Arnold taking place there in Agora Hills. It starts at 8 o'clock.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have a million more
I
questions.
know,
for
and the
you.
sun is perfect, and you guys have bonded, and everything is roses.
Thank
Yes.
God. Thank
Good.
God.
Congratulations
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
through and having a beautiful family.
Thank you. Thank you.